CarMax reported their first quarter earnings today, and things don't look good. And this is just another nail in the coffin into the reality that regardless of whether or not automakers and dealerships want to admit it, the car market is in shambles. But I would argue that whenever we dig into the actual numbers, it's even worse than we thought. Now, CarMax did beat earnings per share estimates. Their earnings per share were expected to be at 91 cents per share, but in reality, CarMax reported 97 cents per share, which equates to a 6.4% increase over expectations. They also did beat revenue expectations. They were expected to have a revenue of about $7.09 billion, but in reality, they produced a $7.1 billion revenue mark. So a slight increase above expectations. But don't get it twisted, despite the fact that CarMax beat earnings per share estimates as well as revenue expectations, it doesn't mean that they're faring well in this current economy. In fact, in this past quarter, CarMax reported a 33% decline in profit. It really is a testament to the current state of the used car market. But before we dive in any further, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video. As a YouTuber and a business owner, I spend a ton of time at my desk, and as I've gotten older, one thing that I've noticed is that whenever I sit down for long periods of time, it absolutely kills my back. Choosing the right office chair is incredibly important for anybody who spends a lot of time sitting at a desk, which is why I started using the FlexiSpot C7, an incredibly ergonomic office chair. Studies have shown that sitting at your desk in the 90-90-90 position is the best sitting position for your health. And what this means is that your elbows should be bent at a 90-degree angle, your hips and knees should be at 90 degrees, and your feet should be flat on the floor. And getting a chair that offers this sitting position is not only more comfortable in the short term, but it's also healthier in the long term. The FlexiSpot C7 is incredibly ergonomic and customizable to your size and sitting position. With a large mesh seat and incredibly customizable components, the FlexiSpot C7 ensures that you're getting the right sitting position for hours of comfort. The FlexiSpot C7 features a backrest that tilts forward and backward and can recline anywhere from 90 to 128 degrees, a lumbar cushion for back support, adjustable armrests, and a fully adjustable headrest, as well as a slew of other components to help ensure that you're getting maximum comfort and support. To check out the FlexiSpot C7 chair, you can check out the link down in the description below. It'll also be down in the pinned comment section as well. Not only did profit decline, which we will dig into a bit more, but actual sales unit volume did as well. According to the CarMax earnings report, retail used unit sales decreased by 3.1%, and wholesale unit sales also decreased by 8.3%. One thing that I did find interesting about CarMax's earnings is the trends of profit margin and how revenue and overall profit for the company have been trending along with it. In 2019, so the last normal year of the car market, gross profit per retail unit sold was $2,166. And it was $977 for wholesale units. We fast forward to the same time in 2022, which was like at the peak for the car market explosion. Car prices were through the roof, so was demand, and inventory was incredibly tight. And during this period of time, gross profit per retail unit sold was $2,339, while gross profit per wholesale unit sold was $1,029. This equates to a 7.9% and a 5.32% increase between 2019 and 2022. We fast forward to this quarter, and gross profit per retail unit sold is $2,347, while gross profit per wholesale unit sold is $1,064. And so between 2019 and today, the profit per retail unit sold has increased by 8.35%. But it gets even more interesting if we compare this to historical revenue and profit data. CarMax's profit is down 33% from this time last year. But if we look at the 2019 CarMax earnings report, it showed revenue at $4.3 billion and net income at $192.6 million. Between 2019 and 2022, revenue grew to $9.31 billion, which was a 116.5% increase, with profit increasing to $252.3 million, which was a 31% increase. Between 2022 and 2024, revenue actually declined to $7.1 billion, which is a decline of about 23%. But if we compare 2024 revenue to 2019 revenue, we are still, all things considered, up. In fact, from 2019 to 2024, revenue for CarMax is up by 68%. And so during this period of time, even though in recent years revenue has declined, we are still at a net positive for revenue, all things considered. But over this exact same period of time, profit has declined to $152.4 million this quarter in 2024, which is not only down a whopping 40% from 2022, but it's also down 21% from 2019. And so while CarMax is actually generating more revenue today compared to 2019, they're actually making less money at the end of the day. And there are a lot of different reasons for this. Some are within CarMax's control, while others are not. But no matter which way you slice it, this is absolutely not good news for any used car seller, CarMax, or the car market as a whole. And it is absolutely indicative that the car market is falling. So first is the issue of price gouging. I talk a lot on my channel about how automakers have done a disservice to customers by cutting out the lower trim models, focusing on high-end ones, and how dealerships and automakers screw their customers every chance they get. And this is actually, at least in my opinion, not the issue with CarMax. And the reason I believe this is that if we look at the profit margin per unit for CarMax, we can see that it has increased over the years, but it hasn't increased by an astronomical amount. In fact, between 2019 and 2022, though profit margin technically did increase, the reason why this company saw such a boom in revenue and such a boom in profit over this period of time wasn't because CarMax was making more off of each individual car that they sold, but it was because they were just selling significantly more cars. And we know that this is true because between 2019 and 2022, unit sales volume increased by about 50%, but profit actually increased by only 31%. So profit actually increased at a lower rate than unit sales. But that's data between 2019 and 2022. So if we scale out a bit and we look between 2019 and 2024, we can see that unit sales volume has increased by 27% over this period of time. Revenue has increased by 68%, but profit has actually decreased by 21%. And so while over the last 5 years, while CarMax has sold more cars, they've generated more revenue, they've actually made less money, which tells me that car demand is definitely falling from 2022 levels, but it is still higher than 2019. The cost of selling a car today in 2024 is just significantly more expensive, especially compared to pre-pandemic levels in 2019. And this is where I worry, and I do think that the data is pointing to the fact that the current state of the car market comes down to far more than just dealership greed and price gouging, which, don't get me wrong, is absolutely a problem here. But there is also a cost problem here as well, and this problem is not only for consumers, but it's also for car sellers as well. Dealership overhead is far too high, the cost to sell a car is far too high, and if CarMax isn't able to increase profitability, even at a time where unit sales volume is quite good historically speaking, what is CarMax going to do if demand drops even further? If people stop buying used cars? Well, that's when CarMax is going to be in deep, deep trouble. I think that talking about CarMax is so incredibly interesting because not only is CarMax a direct reflection of the used car market as a whole, but like I mentioned a moment ago, I also think that CarMax is a shining example that the issue at hand isn't just price gouging. Instead, the issue at hand is affordability, high overhead, inflation, and the cost of doing business. And until all of these different aspects improve, I worry that car prices won't either. Because the numbers don't lie. Cars are still unaffordable, there's no doubt about it. But at least in the case of CarMax, these high prices aren't due to price gouging. It's due to the sheer cost of doing business. And that's a major problem. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.